The Silicon Valley saga is over for now. Sam Altman is going to be back in the driver's seat at OpenAI after a stunning few days that have shaken the tech industry. OpenAI revamping its board, ditching all but one member who chose to oust him and replacing them with former Salesforce Co-CEO Bret Taylor and former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers. But questions still remain on the role Microsoft will play and if the boardroom drama has played in its favor. Joining us now is Alex Konrad, Senior Editor at Forbes, who has been following every twist and turn of this roller coaster ride. So, Alex, it is great to see you. Let me start there, Alex, with you, actually. Sam Altman's back, but there's been some big personalities now, some changes. We've got Bret Taylor and Larry Summers. I'm just interested, Alex, how you think about the addition of Taylor and Summers and what changes you think, if any, they might push for at OpenAI.
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting. I think that Bret Taylor and Larry Summers, they're going to be there to kind of bring in more grown-ups. So I don't think the buck stops with them. I think that they are going to be bringing in a bunch more folks, and it remains to be seen if Sam Altman will get a board seat back. So for now, you have a very small board. Bret is almost a meme in the tech world that he solves problems. If there's something broken, he comes in. He was obviously on the board of Twitter. And Larry also has gone back, a long time with some of these tech folks. But I see them more as a transition team, kind of stabilizing team. And I would not expect this to be the exact board, a year or two from now.
Alex, I've seen some of the sort of narrative come out that, at least on this interim board, there are no women or people of color, right? That you could argue that this whole exercise is a victory for the profit motive over sort of the more altruistic version of AI. However you want to frame it, that seems to be a narrative that is out there. Is that a narrative that the people in the Valley are talking about or subscribing to as well?
It's certainly not the dominant narrative, at least in Silicon Valley today. We had over 95% of OpenAI employees sign a petition on Monday saying that they would resign if the board of directors didn't resign first. So Sam Altman was very popular, almost to a cult-like level within his own company. And also you saw a bunch of the leaders in the tech world, whether it was the CEOs of Airbnb or it was Marissa Mayer, formerly of Google, and a bunch of other stuff, and maybe angling for a board seat here. A lot of folks were speaking out in support of Sam. And so I think that the prevailing narrative is more that OpenAI is going to get back to what it was doing and that this will be hopefully a blip or a distraction from the mission they were on. But what you said is more popular with the research community and with maybe people outside of Silicon Valley, where some folks are asking questions, as you note, about is this the end for such nonprofit governance? Does this basically give Sam Altman unchecked power to just grow at all costs or pursue business deals that may not fit the original mission? And so I think that question is one that is a valid one for us to discuss, but I think it's coming more from outside of the inside baseball Silicon Valley sphere, which is celebrating right now.
I mean, it's so interesting to me, Alex, to hear you use the word cult-like. I mean, loyalty is a good thing between an employer and employees. But at what point does it go too far? And at what point does a board get out? A board is supposed to provide oversight, at times maybe be critical of the management of a company. So I just find this whole episode is just so fascinating from that perspective as well.
Yeah, this was never a normal company, right? Yeah. It was a nonprofit that was controlling a for-profit entity. And the board's mission was not to shareholders. Most of the companies that we talk about with an audience like yours, we're talking about a fiduciary duty to shareholders and public companies. Here we have a nonprofit board who were researchers, who were thinking about the good of humanity. And that's going to obviously create tensions. There's probably a reason there haven't been many companies structured like this.
And Alex, I want to get your take on competition here, just the competitive landscape. OpenAI, well-known, respected, trusted. And a leader, obviously, in the field. But there are others, right, like Anthropic. I'm just wondering, did this drama, did this roller coaster, do you think it might have changed the competitive landscape in any way? Does it possibly give rivals an opening here, an advantage they can press?
I think it gives them less of an advantage than if OpenAI had seen a mass defection and Sam had not returned. So what you're going to see now is OpenAI preaching continuity, saying that they have not missed a step, even though we saw some outages involving ChatGPT earlier this week. I myself tried to get on and couldn't for a while. You're going to see people basically saying, okay, this is the best possible outcome for OpenAI to have not lost that step to competitors. But if you're a competitor, you best believe you're trying to take advantage here. And so those companies have been reaching out to customers. They were reaching out to employees to try to poach them. And I think what remains to be seen is whether those efforts have a meaningful dent in OpenAI's momentum. But there's no way this was good for the momentum, right? If everyone could just kind of rewind the last 48 hours or 72 hours, whatever you want to say, and just go back to last week, OpenAI was coming out of a demo day, this developer day 2 weeks ago, and it had all this kind of good vibes. And then now at best we're kind of just saying, let's pretend that this never happened.
If only, I guess, is their perspective. Alex, Konrad, I hope you have a very restful holiday after all of this. Senior editor at Forbes, thanks for your time today.
Thanks so much.